So, hi everyone, Harsha here. I am the president of the Ascendance Social Enterprise Club here at the University of Pennsylvania. That is the main organizer of today's the Global Game Changers Summit. And today we have a super amazing session. You heard the introduction, you saw the video in the beginning. So I will not spend too much time on the introduction, but we have with us two phenomenal people who personally inspire me, Nathan and Michael, the co-founders, as well as the CEO and COO, respectively, of M31 Capital. So thank you both so much for joining us. How are both of you today?
Good. Appreciate you having us on. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, doing great. Great to be on with you, Harsha.
All right. Well, as I said, it's an honor to have you both here. And this is personally a very fun, I would say, session because I seldom have the opportunity to ask you guys, our speakers, the questions that I want. And I think the students and the audience want to hear as well. So I think just to start off, both of you have such impressive resumes, such impressive things that you've done. I think, Nathan, you were one of the earliest evangelists in the crypto space. You started investing and mining in the space since 2011, which is crazy. You definitely are a visionary. And Michael, you have over 20 years of experience running the best in-class hedge fund operations and risk oversight programs. So I'm so curious how both of you actually came together to form M31 Capital. What is the story behind the organization? And tell us a little bit more about what M31 Capital does.
Yeah, for sure. So M31 Capital, high level, we're a global investment firm focused entirely on crypto assets and blockchain tech. But specifically, we've narrowed our focus to the DeFi and the Web3 subsectors within the crypto space. And it's basically the decentralized Wall Street and the decentralized Silicon Valley subsectors of the digital asset economy. So far and away more excited about those two sectors than anything else happening in the crypto space, and so we sort of dedicated our fund and our investment products to targeting those two sectors. My origin story in the crypto space, you touched on. I stumbled into Bitcoin back in late 2011, and obviously there were no crypto exchanges or mobile apps or anything at the time to get your hands on BTC. So you effectively had two ways to get Bitcoin exposure. You either had to work for the network in the form of mining to earn newly mined BTC, or you had to go through some sort of sketchy OTC transactions to meet up with someone in the real world and get your hands on some BTC. And basically I did both, and that led me down the Bitcoin mining side of the industry until the Ethereum crowd sale. I participated in that, and then I just got incredibly excited about programmable blockchains at the time, and so it started angel investing and advising a lot of what are now the largest crypto assets by market cap. So that was sort of my foray into the crypto space was through Bitcoin when that was the only asset, and then up the sort of proverbial learning curve through ETH, and eventually joined forces with Mike. He'll give you his background in a minute, but when I met him, he was the chief operating officer at Bridgewater. So what we set out to do a couple years back was to lean into both of our extremely different backgrounds, right? My decade of investment experience in the crypto space, and then Mike's several decades plus experience running some of the largest hedge funds and banks and everything in the space. So that was a couple years ago, and we've grown our team now to about 8 of us spread across China, Korea, Singapore, India, and the US on both coasts. So yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Amazing. So Michael, tell us where you come into this, superhero origin story that we're painting for M31.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, great to speak with you, Harsha, and everyone else. I think Nathan, we first got connected back in the early middle of 2018. It was interesting. We got connected through a mutual contact that we both knew, and we started having daily calls, weekly calls, and he started educating me a little bit on the space. I was personally getting interested while I was at Bridgewater on digital assets, and was pretty blown away by the rapid innovation that was happening every single day, and the ethos of an open, transparent financial system that really kind of shifts the power and digital property rights back to individuals like you and me. And so it didn't take me long to kind of fall down that rabbit hole, and looking back over, the past 20 years of my career prior to M31 Capital, wishing I did it sooner, but I'm here now, and I'm so excited about the future. And every single day we wake up, we spend, 24 hours a day, focused on this space. And it's just incredible to see how far it's grown just in the past 2 to 3 years. And a little bit more on my background. Again, I think you did a great job kind of covering it, but prior to, co-launching M31 Capital with Nathan, spent 2 decades in traditional finance, previously 5 years over at Bridgewater. associates, running operations and best-in-class risk and security oversight programs for them. And then prior to that, Goldman Sachs, AllianceBernstein, a bunch of other big banks and financial institutions. And largely my career has been focused on, building out and running the best-in-class hedge fund operations, implementing risk and security oversight programs for these institutions. And that's largely what I do here at M31 Capital is really setting that bar for what best-in-class operations looks and feels like in the crypto digital asset space, and ensuring that M31 continues to grow and scale at speed with security first mindset. And so that's really what we do, ensuring we have the right infrastructure and the global partners beyond the global team that we have spread across the world, and helping onboard the next generation of talent, investors, and communities in the crypto.
No, that's amazing. And I like how you said the whole space has really grown in the last 2 to 3 years. I think today it's a household conversation that people often talk about. And honestly, I don't know how you guys predicted this back in 2011, back in before it blew up so much. So if you guys are picking lottery numbers anytime soon, deal me in. But but because the space is so huge and it spans now so many different, I would say, areas, and you guys yourself invest all across the globe, different countries, as we mentioned. What do you think is your primary focus or your, in a sense, investment strategy when you go about looking at the space and picking which, I would say, horse to bet on?
Yeah, it's definitely a longer conversation than we probably have time for. But what I alluded to earlier is we've narrowed the entire universe of crypto assets, which is now well beyond 100,000 crypto assets in the space, all tackling completely different problems. We've narrowed that down into a specific sector focus, the DeFi and the Web3 sector. So that sort of consolidated the industry, made it a little more manageable for us to kind of wrap our arms around and build out sector expertise investing in those two subsectors, because these really are, almost none of these are cryptocurrencies attacking the kind of US dollar dominance. They're really better thought of as early stage venture capital opportunities. These are projects and protocols solving completely different use cases. So for us, the DeFi and the Web3 sector are the most interesting, because that's basically a decentralized Wall Street and a decentralized Silicon Valley. So that's where we see all of the innovation. That's where we see a lot of the excitement, the usage, the early adoption, and all the revenue, because these are actually revenue generating sectors, unlike maybe the L1 space, which like Bitcoin, for example. So for us, we focus narrowly on the DeFi and the Web3 sectors, and then within that, it's a matter of spending a lot of time in that space and developing sort of mental models around investing and best practices in that space. So in DeFi, it's basically a decentralized Wall Street, so it maps pretty well to TradFi, or traditional finance. So if you look at Wall Street, you've got spot trading and derivatives trading and borrowing and lending and insurance and fixed income and all these traditional financial products and services. DeFi has re-architected all of those same products and services on a blockchain. So it inherits naturally, by virtue of that, a lot of the benefits of or a lot of the characteristics that make Bitcoin the most interesting asset in the world, right? Censorship resistance and permissionless innovation and decentralization and peer-to-peer networking and all of that fun stuff. But also, these blockchain technology-based products and protocols are orders of magnitude faster and cheaper and more secure and more user-friendly and easier to use and accessible than anything Goldman Sachs or the Wall Street incumbents can offer. So that alone is incredibly exciting, and a lot of these stuff, these protocols already exist. So it's not like in venture capital where you're making a bet on a future technology that doesn't exist yet. We use these products and we kick the tires, and we use them personally, and we dig under the hood, and we look at the on-chain fundamentals, the health of the network. We look at everything we can to tell us that these are robust protocols. So I think an interesting example maybe is Uniswap. Some people might be aware, but it's a completely decentralized exchange. So you can swap one asset for another asset with no intermediary and no account opening process, no username or password or anything like this. It's 24/7, 365, and it's entirely code-based, and there are 0 employees, right? And today, as of recently, like 2-3 weeks ago, it started processing more trade volume than Coinbase, more daily trade volume than Coinbase. Oh. Premier centralized crypto exchange. So it shows how these pure code, 0 employees, these protocols are able to do what the incumbents do, but better and faster and cheaper, and they can manage the exact same amount of trade volume and activity. So we just, I don't know how that doesn't get you excited, but maybe we're weird.
No, I think that's brilliant. And I think one of the, like, I can feel all the Wharton students that I know going crazy at this and absolutely loving the whole idea of this. And I think the space is so interesting because it brings, like, as you said, things like Wall Street, things like finance that so many people are fascinated about, and it accelerates it with technology that is unprecedented. Where do you guys see the future of digital assets of this whole space heading towards?
A black hole for everything.
A black hole. No, that's not okay. Let's bring some science in it. Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's basically our black hole theory. Like it's just the future of essentially everything. You've got, you know, Bitcoin's decentralized currency, and once you kind of have your aha moment with Bitcoin, you realize that there is no competing with it. There's no way that you can compete or build a better system with this. And then you extrapolate that to DeFi and Web3 and some of these sectors, and you look at basically, you know, the decentralized Silicon Valley tech stack versus the centralized Silicon Valley tech stack, and you're like, there's absolutely no way that they're going to be able to compete with a competitor that offers the same service at 1/100,000th of the cost, right? The users are going to onboard there because that's where they can derive more value than they can currently. I mean, you tweet, right? You get nothing when you tweet. You're just like out there producing content and all this value for Twitter. All the value accrues in the hands of, you know, basically a very small number of people. None of it flows back to the user. So the users have an incredible incentive to onboard into the Web3 tech stack, because they actually accrue a lot of the value that they're creating. And same thing kind of on the content creator side and everything. So, you know, if you think about like a decentralized Uber, this is a protocol we talked to this morning. You can build Uber on a decentralized tech stack entirely. And there's this protocol that already did. And so what that means is that the drivers get to keep 100% of the profits that they make from driving riders around, rather than the 50% take rate that they're left with after paying Uber's fees. So from the user's perspective, you're going to onboard into the Web3 tech stack because you accrue more value, but also on the like on the driver's side, you're going to onboard into the Web3 tech stack as well, because you're able to keep more of the profit that you're generating. So for us, it's kind of it's sort of game over for Wall Street. It's game over for you know, the Silicon Valley oligopoly, and it's really just a matter of when these protocols start gaining significant market share. Not a matter anymore of if they will.
And yeah, I think that's exactly right, Nathan. The only thing I'd add, and just kind of want to emphasize, you know, this is genuine blockchain tech that exists today that's solving real world problems today, right? This is not speculative or things that are still being developed. Anyone can go out there today and get involved in whatever capacity they want, you know, as an employee, as a user, as an investor, a positive activist, whatever capacity. There's so many ways for individuals or institutions to actively get involved in this ecosystem, because it's real, it's tangible. You can use these products. We use things every single day as part of our strategy, right? You know, whether it's using Huddle, which is a decentralized Zoom, right? Why use a centralized alternative when there's a cheaper, faster, more fun experience within the Web3 space? And so we're using these products every single day because we believe in the decentralized nature of what these assets are making possible.
No, that is crazy. And as you said, there's just so much variety there from content creators. I didn't know about the Uber thing, so that is another completely new and innovative door that's just open. What do you guys think are any specific trends or narratives that you are excited about, or things that you see that are boiling up that maybe the rest of us don't have the insight to? Michael, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I mean, I can start it off. I'll give you the boring answer, and then Nathan will give you the more exciting answer. I mean, in general, I mean, we're super excited about Web3, right? We're super excited about the creator economy and what that potential products and protocols are going to offer us as individuals, us as investors. And again, going back to what I said at the beginning of the call, really shifting that power away from, you know, big tech monopolies and companies back to individuals, right? And where you have real ownership and real digital property rights associated with the content that you put out every single day. It's a super exciting space for us right now, and it's so early, right? It's so extremely early. I mean, M31 Capital has been a DeFi and Web3 focused fund since we launched in January 2020, but just over the last 6 to 8 months is where we're starting to really see these consumer-facing apps within the Web3 ecosystem coming to light. And so it's an exciting time because, you know, you can actually, again, use these products, go out, whether it's a decentralized Twitter or decentralized social media platform, whatever it may be, and get your hands dirty and start to interface with them every single day. And so it's, you know, I'll give you that service level. I'll turn it over to Nathan. Nathan can give you a little bit more insights on the trends.
That was the boring answer. Okay. Now, okay, you got a bit top, all right, but go ahead, Nathan.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's exactly right. One thing I would add is basically to clarify, like the Web3 as a term has become, you know, basically just a buzzword, but we use it very intentionally. We're talking about Web 1, 2, 3. We define them by their economic models, right? So Web 1 sort of infamously had no economic model because you couldn't do commerce over the internet, right? It was a Netscape dial-up era and everything. And Web 2 solved this with more or less the attention economy, right? Leveraging online attention to drive offline sales, and it basically turned the entire internet into a gigantic billboard factory. And now Web3 comes in, and Web3 is the, you know, catalyzed the ownership economy, more or less what Mike just alluded to. And the idea is, you know, basically that blockchain technology gives you users extraordinarily strong property rights over digital assets. So in the same way Bitcoin gives you strong property rights over digital money, Web3 sort of extrapolates that forward over all sorts of digital assets. So your tweets, your content, your data, your metadata, you know, intellectual property, your domain names, music files, you know, anything, image files, all of it. And when a user has extremely strong, you know, ownership over all of the assets that they create, one, they can profit more, of course, because all that value is currently accruing to a small number of people at the top of, you know, Spotify and Uber and Twitter, et cetera. But number two, there are just brand new economic models that you can employ, like the direct consumer creator relationship. So you can co-create art and music with your favorite artist, for example, right? Because there's no intermediary between the fan and the creator. So there's just some incredible early experiments around the ownership economy, and we're super excited to watch that space shake out over the next decade plus.
No, and I really get like, I love how, I think, and this is my takeaway is how much this whole space is giving power to the people, in a sense. You know, as you said, it's decentralizing things. It's letting content creators to Uber drivers to everyone, in a sense, be able to take or at least take a more equitable look at the world, the online world that they're constantly engaging with, and be able to kind of craft out their own space on it. I think that's absolutely brilliant. And I know that many people probably here, since they're here, are excited about this, are involved in it. But there's also, I'm assuming, a portion of people who probably have just been a bit confused, and maybe they're not in the space exactly yet. And this may be the group of people that stand to benefit the most from it. Those who do not directly work in finance and or maybe don't have the best IT and tech background, but they are the content creators. They're the everyday people. Is it too late for them? Or like, has the ship sailed? Should they not even try to get in the space? Or what can those who are not involved right now do as a first step to kind of get a lay of the land?
Yeah, I mean, the ship hasn't even started boarding yet. It's like, I hate this phrase, but it is honestly so early, and especially like you said, for the non-financial elements of this. I think kind of my mental model on this more or less is that because finance is basically the substrate of everything, like anything you want to do, music, you know, art, anything, like it's underpinned by some kind of economic incentive. So first, what happened in the crypto space is you started with an asset of value. That was Bitcoin. And then off of that, you build this entirely, you know, increasingly complex financial ecosystem, the Wall Street of the crypto universe. And that's why when people think crypto, and that's more or less where we are today, like at the end of that wave and ready for the next one, which is sort of the Web3 space. But that's why when people think about crypto, they think speculative, you know, non-real world use cases, and it's all just like this reflexive, recursive, you know, trading back and forth. But you have, that's not nothing. You need that kind of financial architecture underpinning everything, so that you can build set of non-purely financial applications on top, right? Like in order to have a decentralized Uber, you first need a payments mechanism to allow riders and drivers to economically interact, right? And so we're entering the beginning of that kind of the third phase of crypto, which is going to be sort of the real world use cases. You're going to see actually a decentralized Spotify that you can actually use, and you can download the app on your phone and use it. A decentralized Uber where like you press a button, it interacts with the blockchain behind the scenes, but an actual car shows up, you know, where you need it to. So that's yeah, I mean, that's what we're looking forward to and excited about. And like I mentioned, like a lot of these protocols they're early, but they already exist. The decentralized Uber concept's already here. The protocol called Drive.io, and the decentralized Spotify is already here with Audius and all sorts of examples. But I think the next wave is going to be a lot of the non-financial users onboarding into the crypto space, maybe not even knowing that they're using blockchain under the hood, the artists and the musicians, et cetera.
I mean, Harsha, you said something a few moments back I think is so important, which is at the simplest form, it requires education, right? It requires people to get educated and informed about what's happening in the space. And Nathan and I spend a lot of time at M31 Capital, not just running the funds, but also educating our community on what's going on and what are some of the emerging trends and narratives in the space. And so, we push out a weekly data-driven research piece, a monthly thematic newsletter, and that's a great way for folks to learn about what's going on in the ecosystem. What are some of the new exciting projects like Nathan just mentioned, and literally how can you actually start to work with those projects, and how can you find a job in this space or whatever it may be, right? There's so many ways to get involved, but it really starts by finding reliable data sources that you can trust or just painting the facts with data. Learning about it and asking questions and continue to ask more questions. I've been in the space for 3 years and every day I learn something new. And so it's important. And over the last 15 minutes, we've said a lot of buzzwords, but at the end of the day, just you take it slow, you get yourself educated, and you find how you want to participate and how you want to get involved.
Okay. Brilliantly said. I don't think I could have asked for a better wrap up, and I didn't even ask. So amazing, I would say, way for us to kind of wind down this little chat that we've been having. But I do have one last question, and I think this is the most important of it all. You are doing so much work in this whole arena that I think so many people would love to engage with. So whether they're the attendees, potential investors, or people already working on the next big ideas, how do they reach out to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best and simple way is visit our website, www.m31.capital. On the website, you will have access to all of our research, our investment theses, our contact information, where you can reach out to Nathan and myself directly. And we're always happy to sit down with anyone to get them educated, teach them more about our institutional grade funds that we run, or whatever it may be. And then beyond our website, we also host monthly webinars with top founders and projects across the ecosystem. And so again, if you're plugged into the website, you can get plugged into all the upcoming exciting events that we're going to be hosting throughout the year.
And if you're building something in the DeFi or the Web3 space, get in touch with us definitely, because we're actively investing and we're hiring as well. So.
All right.
Exactly.
Thank you both so much. I learned a lot. I think our audience probably needs a minute to recover after this, with the amount of information and the amount of mind-blowing new ideas that they hopefully got from today's session. And I really appreciate you guys coming on board, sharing about this. And I look forward to hearing more from you guys throughout the summit, especially in the blockchain and crypto space and the DeFi space and everything that you guys are doing. So thank you so much. And to our audience, we'll catch you guys later. We're passing it back to the MCs now. Bye.
Thanks for having us.
All right.